I am the famous American. And you can imagine, if you're me, one of the reoccurring comments you receive on your videos is, quote, "You Americans are so obsessed with race, ... And it goes on. I get that one. Basically 1 out of every 10 comments I receive is that comment. And about once a year, I feel that I need to go ahead and do a new annual response to that comment. And that's ultimately, imagine if you were born and raised and grew up in the United States, your entire life you were given forms to fill out, whether you go into the doctor, whether you're in school, whether you are filling out some kind of survey for the government. On a regular basis, at least weekly, you fill out a form, your name, your date of birth, your social security number, your race and ethnicity. It's on there. So if you grew up your whole life filling out that form, you can imagine that alone would cause you to be very aware of your race and ethnicity. People say, you Americans are obsessed. Well, we're very aware of it because we have to be. And also, we have laws here in the United States that we cannot discriminate against a race. Say someone's trying to get a job. You can't discriminate against them. More so, it's actually quite the opposite of that. Specifically, if someone's of a minority and they apply for a job and someone who is not of a minority, if they're just as qualified, the job needs to go to the person who's the minority. So it's one of those ways that we are put in a situation where we need to continually self-identify, whether it's for the government, whether it's for an employer, whether it's for a school. They want to keep up with minority status to keep them from being discriminated against, even if, to some degree, it causes this paradox where maybe it could actually make a person feel more discriminated against. I'm not sure that that's actually the case, but to answer the question, why are Americans obsessed with race and ethnicity? Imagine if you lived in a country where you were constantly having to filling out that form for the government, schools, etc. Imagine if we are keeping basically a tally of who the minorities are so that they're not discriminated against. It makes it to where we're very, very self-aware. Is that being racist? Does that mean that we're racist? Does it mean we're obsessed with race? Maybe not, but just imagine if that were your culture and your mindset. Now, I want to end this video with a twist. It's hard for people outside of the United States to understand this concept. I've learned that over the years of making these videos. So what I have to do is put myself in your situation. If you didn't grow up having to fill out those forms and constantly be aware of not discriminating against people, would you be as aware as we are? And the answer is probably not. So let's say that I was somewhere in Europe and I was watching an American talk about race and ethnicity all the time, creating a YouTube channel about it. Now granted, imagine the free market. Imagine, why is this channel popular? Because people like to watch it, especially in Europe. So there's a demand for this. People like this. But ultimately, if I didn't grow up culturally, I'm imagining what I think Americans are obsessed with race. And I can see where you're coming from. I can see why you would feel that way. But again, the challenge here is to realize this is a cultural mindset of the Americans. Are we obsessed? I think that's a strong word. I think that we're overly aware because we have to be. If we were not, we would not have the culture of an American who is basically brainwashed, I'll use that word, brainwashed, to be aware of one's race and ethnicity, if for no other reason to keep from discriminating against that person, to give them equal opportunities. Let's continue this conversation right here in the comments. And a reminder, I am the famous American.